then you're in the right path.
This is beautiful what you just said. You're talking about reclaiming the fiction that was established, the false light.
Yes.
Reclaiming the false light that was established in your name, given your identity, so to speak, at birth, without your knowledge. You're talking about us needing to reclaim that false light and step into ourselves, our true selves, as a people of the world, in order to reclaim reality from the fiction.
Yes.
That's powerful.
Yes, it is. And that's what I think everyone needs to do. All the sovereign people that's in poverty and whatever they put us in, that's what we need to do. We need to reclaim that, what they are making money on. That is ours. Then you wouldn't have wars, you wouldn't have people fighting for money, you wouldn't have poor people. Everybody will be okay. Everybody. But they do not want you to. If you do that, that will break down their system, and they do not want that. So once you know, you need to get into it, and you need to start reclaiming your straw man. It is yours.
Now, Bibi, you learnt all of this the hard way. You were sitting in your office in the United States running a very successful real estate business a number of years ago. Very successful, selling 20 to 30 properties every month.
Yes.
You had a lot of your own properties, you were living there with your family.
Yes.
Life was good.
Yes.
And into your office walked a corrupt policeman and an IRS agent.
Yes.
And these gentlemen effectively put you on the spot, told you that there was one of your clients that you were selling a house to was a drug dealer.
Yes.
And which you had no idea.
Yes.
How would you know? And they effectively then tried to pin this a crime onto you by suggesting that you were effectively receiving laundered funds.
Yes.
And out of the blue, your life turned into some grotesque horror story.
Yes.
You were dragged into court, and the next thing, you were put in prison for 8 years.
Yes.
Your life destroyed.
Yes.
And that was where you learnt law. Tell us about this.
Well, when I went to trial, and I thought, well, how could they do this? I have shown for 10 years my bank statements, so they see that I had no money was laundered by me. The gentleman I sold the property to brought $5,000 of his own money, and he got a loan from the bank for the difference. And the bank loan officer testified at my trial, but I ended up in prison. And I wondered how they did it. I thought, well, there has to be something that I've missed. I saw in the courtroom what was displayed, it was all acting. Like everybody, like we were in a theater, and they were acting, and I was a victim.
Role playing.
Yes, the lawyers, the prosecutor, they were all. My lawyer guaranteed my freedom, and I got sentenced to 8 years. Now, when I got locked up, my main aim was to find out how I end up there. Without doing, and I had over $1 million of real estate paid for, money in the bank. My children finished university. We were in a very comfortable, very hard-working family, very comfortable position. And I thought, no, it has to be something wrong, something they did that I couldn't see. And for every single day, for 7 years, I learned every single day. Christmas, birthdays, every day.
You studied?
I studied.
You studied law?
Yes.
And you understand that you came to understand the highest expression of law, this UCC law.
Yes. And what they're doing and how they could get you in there and how they could lie, how they commit fraud. And they all thought they were all laughing when I was found guilty, like, well, they get paid, you see. I didn't know, lots of money. I didn't know at the time. And these people, I was in the prison, and there were hundreds of women that were there that was in the same position as I was.
They were tricked into the system.
Yes, they didn't do anything.
And then once they're in prison, they're having a prison bond issued.
Oh, yes.
And then their prison bond is traded on the stock market,
Yes.
making huge amounts of money.
With their numbers, yeah.
And they're relegated to becoming slave workers.
Yes.
And no one's told this.
No. They get 12 cents per day. The food that was served in the kitchen was from the Gulf War. Cans of meat and all kinds of stuff. And they said the prison is not making any money, and they're telling the people out there that the prisons are losing money, and all these drug dealers and all these people coming into prison, and we don't have enough money. That's a lie.
They're making thousands of dollars a day per prisoner. I know it's at least $3,000 a day.
Yes.
Per prisoner.
But they invest into the prison system, into Unicor.
Prisons for profit.
Prisons for profit.
Disgusting.
And they invest in the prisons, and they make hundreds of billions of dollars. And the prisoners get 12 cents a day, and the food that they feed the prisoners...
Not fit for dogs.
No, it comes from the farms, and they get tax write-off on it. The chicken may be 2-3 months old, and all kinds of stuff. They serve horse meat for beef.
Well, you're about to launch an online workshop and tutorials through the Newark University, teaching UCC and explaining to people from around the world how they can navigate their situation, whatever their situation may be, because all of us are facing penalties and cruel and unusual punishments.
Yeah.
But let's discuss something as mundane as a parking ticket, okay? Something that everybody understands. What are the do's and don'ts? You've just gone back to your vehicle and there's a parking ticket on it.
It's parking tickets are a contract. You do not have a contract with your council. They put a ticket on there. There's no contract, so you don't have to pay that ticket.
So what are your steps?
You send the ticket back to them.
No contract.
And you tell them no contract. They have to produce a contract where you sign to say that if you park somewhere that you're not supposed to, you will have to pay the ticket. I remember someone showing me a ticket not so long ago, and the ticket had a CEO, it says CEO on the ticket, and a signature.
CEO?
Yes.
Chief Executive Officer?
Yes. So I sent the ticket back to the CEO, and I asked him when was he there at 8 o'clock at night putting tickets on the cars. It just goes to show that people do not look at their tickets either, because they don't know. And it's very sad, because a parking ticket, why should you have to pay for parking when you own the roads? We own it. We own everything.
So you've sent your parking ticket back with no contract on it. What are the next steps that they'd like you to take?
They would write to you and said you have to pay. If you pay within a certain time, it's only half. You have to pay half of the fine.
What's your response?
My response is I don't have to pay any, because I don't have a contract with you.
So again, you ask them, show me the contract.
Yeah. I send them a letter, and I ask them, I said, okay, the person that you addressed in this letter is spiritually dead and have no soul, which is your straw man.
The straw man.
Yes. And I said that I had not given you permission to use it to make money, and there's a fine behind this of £250,000 every time you use it. They refused to answer, so I sent them, the following letter was a default letter. I says, you're now in default for not responding, because that's what they're going to do to you. So
you played law against them?
Yes.
Good.
Yes. So when I sent them that, 5 days later, I received a letter stating that the account is closed and I do not owe.
Very good. Thank you for that. Well, that's rather straightforward. Let's discuss mortgages, because this is the bane of most people's existence, is needing to secure their home. Everyone has the right to a home in this world. And mortgages, I mean, what's the etymology of mortgage in the first instance? Death grip, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is.
Mortgage means death grip in French.
Well, the mortgage is what they do is just a front. Because the minute you miss a payment, when you get a mortgage from the bank, they're after you. The first time you miss a payment, it goes straight into the insurance company that the mortgage company have.
And they want you to miss a payment.
And they want you to miss a payment because they don't lend you money.
But let's go back. Your house is, let's say, worth $100,000. Now, when you apply for a mortgage, they don't have the $100,000. But you come along with your block black capital signature, you sign the application, they then monetize your signature by having $100,000 worth of your value discharged against your treasury bond.
Yes.
That money they then lend to you, and they double dip because they then get you to pay that money back plus interest.
What they do is they don't lend you that. They don't lend you anything. You fill up your papers and you sign. The signature is what they want. Then they tell you, okay, you have to be a good boy and you have to be a good credit and you can borrow from me. So they lend you a piece of paper that you sign with very fine writing in the back. That's where the legalese comes in, because that's what they do. Then you sign it, signature. They take that and they tell you, okay, the funds will be ready in 2 to 3 days to come back. The following day with the signature, they go into your trust fund and they get paid the $100,000. They never disclose to you that, okay, we got paid, so the house is now yours. No. They come back when you go, and the third day, they've already got their money. They say to you, okay, this is the agreement, you pay so much every month, the interest rate, all that you've already signed for. So now they put the $100,000 on the computer screen for you, so you can finish your house closing. Now that $100,000 is just numbers. It is not money, because they all own the banks. So there's no money pass, no cash, just paper. But they have your $100,000 already. If you don't pay, they take the house. They don't want nothing. They want the property, because the money is just paper. It has no value. So the property has value, so they take the property.
So let's talk about allodium title. What is allodium title? Why is it so important?
Okay, allodium title is important because you do not own the land. They tell you it's freehold, but it's not freehold. The land is owned by the Crown. All the land in England.
I'm a farmer in Minnesota, and you're saying that my land is owned by the Queen.
Yes.
I'm a farmer in Mozambique.
Your land is owned by the Queen.
The Queen of England.
The Queen of England. She owns all the land. So what happens is you own that piece of brick that's sitting on it that they call freehold, or your house. You own that. You don't own the land. So the land, the allodium title, is to own your land. So you can put a sign up and says no trespassing, private property. When you put that sign up, you have to own the land, because owning the house doesn't mean anything. It's the land they want. See, the bank takes the house, which is part of the Crown, and the Crown owns the land. That's how it works. And you don't own anything.
Ever.
Ever. You are just a mere user.
So long as you are acting as your straw man. Now, when we reclaim ourselves from this fiction, and we do it as a people, many of us do it, what then do you see? How do you see the dissolution of government, the dissolution of this behemoth, this Molochite monster that has taken over our lives, indentured us into bonded slavery all around the world, 7 billion souls, owned and controlled, indentured to a couple of hundred National Reserve banks themselves, indentured into the Bank of International Settlements, that controlled through the US Treasury, the Federal Reserve, the IFC, the IMF, the World Bank, and so on, back to the Crown of England, and behind that, the Vatican. So all of that grotesquerie, that fiction, when do you see us as a people of the world reclaiming real reality from that fiction? And how is that likely to play out?
I think if people get to know and they come together, it doesn't take hundreds of millions. 1 million sovereigns get together can make a hell of a lot of difference, because the word spreads from one to the other. And once people get to know that this is what is being done to them, it's going to be like wildfire. Once people get to know the law, what they're under, and what they're doing to them, and how they're making... You see, they make things to distract you. like the news and